Hi, everybody. This is Mohammed with vCloud Tech. This is another series of our webinars here, and today we're actually talking about how do you monitor your network? How do you get alerted if anything goes wrong, or if there's any changes in your system or environment, or if there's any bad actor, whether it's internal or external. And some of the good stuff that we brought to you today from our partners, Near Security Solutions, to talk about, especially in these challenging times where there's a lot of remote working, and there could be a lot of access that could be breached to your data center, to your applications. How do you protect? How do you monitor? And how do you proactively protect some of these cyber attack challenges? With that said, I'd like to introduce our partners, Near Security Solutions, and I have Paul Herbka and Brandon Muniz. Hey, Paul, how are you today?
Uh, Good day, Muhammad. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, and excited to be here. Excited to share some of the ways we can help the security teams out there that, again, have to be right 100% of the time and have to defend from all the different attacks that are out there, and especially the advanced persistent threats type of attacks out there. So, very happy to be here today.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's a pleasure to have you here. Paul, would love to turn it over to you to talk a little bit about Snare, how Snare is addressing these challenges today, and how you're helping customers out there with monitoring file integrity, file activity, and registry-related challenges, and all the cyber challenges from monitoring, alerting, and proactiveness. Go ahead, Paul.
Thank you, Mohammed. Yeah, so Snare Solutions, we offer a variety of things, but our central uh, thing is really centralized log management, and that's the ability to pull in logs from everywhere and make sure that you're getting them from all your systems, from all your network, syslog type of things, routers, switches, etc. And then you need flat file like IIS, Apache, etc. And pull those in together and manage those, monitor those, alert on those, and then forward them on wherever you need and store them for compliance and forensic reasons. Today, we're going to dive in specifically to one little set of features that are very important features that result in some highly effective visibility into critical files on your systems. And those features are file integrity monitoring, file activity monitoring, registry integrity monitoring, and registry activity monitoring. So what is FIM and FAM? So file integrity monitoring helps answer a security question, which is, are there any changes to this specific file? So as a security team, right, there are specific files and sets of files or directories that you say, hey, I want to know if anything changes in here because these are some critical files, right? So I want to be alerted, I want to know. So that's what FIM does, file integrity monitoring. Then FAM, file activity monitoring, helps answer some additional questions, which is who is doing what to this file. So not only do I want to know, hey, is there a change, right? So notify me, but then I want to be able to dig in and find out, okay, who is doing what to this file. So it's the ability to detect and record intentional and unintentional changes to a specific file or set of files, directory. Then there's RIM and RAM. So RIM, or Registry Integrity Monitoring, helps answer a Windows security question about the registry, which is, are there any changes to the registry? And in very simple terms, the registry is like a traffic cop for your Windows system, and it's where the list of who has access to what is controlled and maintained. So any changes there can be critical to who has access to what, and that's, of course, that's why the bad guys go in there, is to help get access. So, you want to look at any key registry values, which may change access to applications, et cetera. And then with the registry activity monitoring, that helps answer, okay, who is doing what to the registry, right? So again, I want to know, are there any changes to the registry? And then also who and what made those changes to the registry. So that's really the basics of the FIM and the RIM and the power of those. So it's the ability to detect and record intentional, unintentional changes to the registry. So, integrity monitoring is the ability to detect and record any of those changes. Why is that important? Well, first, you're monitoring your critical data, right? So that's a good security practice. You want to make sure any of your critical data, if there's changes there, you know about it, and you're managing it, maintaining that. This can also help with incident response. So if critical data is lost, for instance, you'll know who, how, and when it was interfered with. And then finally, for many of you, this will be the main reason that you're looking at this video right now is, integrity monitoring is required by many regulations like PCI DSS, GDPR, for personal data, et cetera. SOX, HIPAA, FISMA, there's tons of compliance out there, but the key thing comes back to, do you know what's going on? Are you monitoring, and are you being alerted when those changes are happening, so that you can make sure, hey, was it someone on our team that did it and it's no big deal, or hey, if it wasn't someone on our team and we don't know why it was changed, that may be something we need to investigate. So some of the main items with file integrity and file activity monitoring is monitoring admin activities, right? As these can have a major impact on system and data. Monitoring process activities, as many hackers use processes to help do their dirty work, and then monitoring login events, as this often gives clues, to normal versus hacker type activity. And then of course there's compliance, right? So whatever your compliance requirements, whether it's PCI DSS, GDPR, or one of the ISO frameworks that you're using, you can use Snare Central with its rich collection of out-of-the-box reports to help you with that. So who needs FIM and FAM and RIM and RAM? Well, no matter what industry you're in, there are compliance drivers, and more importantly, the need for strong security. You need to know what's going on in your network, and especially on your systems, right? And that's why so many people buy solutions just for FIM and RIM capabilities. And the beauty is that those are built right into our solution. So you need to know what's going on in your environment, and that's why you want a solution with FIM and RIM built right into the product. Everyone interested in proactive security needs this solution. So I hope you've learned a little today about FIM and RIM and their importance. And now I think would like to see it in action. But Mohammed, any questions or anything you'd like to add? To you.
Thank you, Paul. That was a very good overview of Snare Solutions. And with that said, I would like to dive into a little bit of the live demo to see the Snare solution in action, and on how the setup works, how the monitoring works. And I'd like to introduce Brandon from Snare Solutions. Brandon?
Hi, thank you, Mohammed. Yeah, so what we'll look at here is actually the technology itself. So what we'll look at first is the file integrity monitoring on a Snare agent for Windows. The interface that you're seeing here is our latest code base. It's version 5.4.1. And what we'll look at first is the latest events area. You can see that we have a special purpose-built area there specifically for file integrity. Now, nothing is being displayed because we haven't set it up yet, but that'll go ahead and get done now. So within the file integrity monitoring area, it's a simple add button that you pick. The first item that you'll want to set up is your scheduling for the FIM activity. We do have a couple pre-built selections there for hourly runs and a daily run at midnight, but the custom is what we'll be using today. Custom scheduling is based on standard cron syntax. And you can see here that what you're looking is that every 5 minutes. We'll go ahead and actually change this so that we'll have some activity being shown to just occur every 1 minute. No changes in the alert level. And then we'll actually define where the FIM activity is taking place. So this is either a particular file, a directory, or a recursive directory. In this case, I'll be using everything under the Windows directory. The asterisk there is the wildcard to just simply state that recursion is going to take place. So all of the areas on this directory and beneath it. For the inclusion format, we'll be looking at all log files, and then no exclusion being performed. Go ahead and hit change configuration within the Snare interface to set those, and then apply and restart service. And this will actually save the changes and apply them to the agent. So now that the agent has recovered from its service restart, we'll go ahead and return to the file integrity monitoring. You can see where the policy that we just set is in place and that the scan is currently underway. Now, what's happening here is that the agent itself is building a checksum hash. It becomes the baseline database for which all activity will be checked against going forward. The scan is still processing here. So in a few more moments, we should have some activity. If we look there, nothing quite yet. Once the checksum hash is produced again, though, for every next occurrence of the scheduling, in this case, we'll be performing it every 1 minute. But this is what is actually essentially audited against for activity. So the scan, I believe, is still currently underway. We'll take a look at it again here. So hasn't quite completed, but now it's completed. So we'll see that that took 1 minute and 40 seconds. 213 files were found. There you can see the next scheduled occurrence. And here's a little bit of information on the scan that actually just took place. So now, I believe if we go back to the latest events, and we look in this section, here is all of the files that have now been added to that database and checksum. So what we've witnessed is the setup of a FIM policy, the initial scan and checksum database being created, and the actual activities themselves. So the next use case will be the file activity monitoring. So where FIM is the integrity of the files, file activity monitoring is exactly that. It's what activity is taking place and by whom. So to set this up, this is actually done in our objectives area. Same exact agent, same code base, but if we navigate here to the objective configuration, we will do an add to add this policy in place. There's a radio button for access file or directory that you'll find up there. And once you select that button, what you want to do is, again, just define where the access is that you are looking to monitor. This is set in the general search term area. And in this use case, we'll just look at, again, an area under the C drive in the Windows logs directory. Once that location is set, there's no need to perform any sort of inclusion or exclusion, but we will select the top 6 selections there for the return types, successes, failures, informational and warning, etc. Go ahead and set the change. And once the change is in place, you can see the objective there at the bottom. And now we'll do, again, another apply configuration and restart, and the agent will restart itself. So returning back from that service restart, if we look at the objective, you will now see that that is in place amongst the other objective sets that are within this agent. And if we look at the latest event screen, in a moment, we should see some activity happening in that particular directory. Now, this events log area is going to show you, of course, all of the other events that are related to the activity happening on the system. It does refresh every 30 seconds, as you saw there on the screen. But you can see the top 2 items are some access attempts. And so what we're seeing there is exactly the setup for the FAM itself. So as additional access is attempted to those files within those areas, you can see a few more results. You can see that the agent itself is showing that activity. So what we've witnessed there was the FAM setup and the actual activity. Moving to our third and final example, this is the RIM example. This is the registry integrity monitoring. Same general concepts, same code base. Obviously, a registry is something that's unique to a Windows system. So using the same agent as our previous two use cases, we'll go ahead and look at the latest events just to show you that in registry integrity, there's no activities since nothing's set up. We'll go into the registry integrity monitoring section, and we'll click the add button to add our first policy. And in the very same conceptual way as we set up FIM, we're going to be setting up RIM. So in this case, won't use either of the two pre-selected hourly or daily runs, but we'll do a custom setup. And again, we'll set this up to run a scan every 1 minute. Rather than defining a path within the system like we would do for files, because this is a registry, we actually just define the area within the registry that you wish to look at. So I do know that scanning an entire registry is something that would take quite a long time. So what I'm going to set here for our use case is the particular services control set within the registry. This is just an area that I know has somewhat frequent activity. Windows generally will perform some activity to the services section. So as a use case here for our demonstration, that's what I'm presenting. For the inclusion, I'll go ahead and use a wildcard asterisk to just include all matches to any variable changes. And again, no exclusions being performed here. Go ahead and click Change Configuration to set that, and click Apply to restart the system. And we'll go ahead and look at the setup itself to see if we get some activity. Now, as we saw before with the FIM, there is a period of time where the checksum is initially being built. The scan is taking place, creating that baseline. In this case, I believe this one will actually finish a little bit quicker than the files did. And then we can actually go look at the registry activities that were taking place. So let's go ahead and do a refresh here. Okay, and there you can see just over 15,000 values were found. The next scheduled scan, of course, is presented. Total time was around 28 seconds for that scan. And by navigating here to the latest events area and going into the registry integrity section, you can see all the new values that were created during the initial checksum. So what we've witnessed is the setup and function of all three of those areas. And yeah, thank you for the time. Over to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Brandon. This was a great overview. I appreciate your time. And again, thank you everybody for listening to this quick webinar here. To learn more about the snare solutions and set up a live demo more tailored to your needs, please reach out to us. And with that said, please stay tuned. We'll have more webinars coming up discussing more in detail about snare. With that, Paul, thank you very much for your time. Brandon, we truly appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll see you on our next webinar. Have a good one.